Happy Friday. I hope you're super excited for this week because we're going to talk about heroines who like sex. Yay. Recently I've seen people getting kind of cranky. I mean, I know they always have, but it just has popped up quite a bit on my Twitter feed lately, and so I figured I'd talk about it because I talk about everything else. People seem to be having issues with heroines who talk dirty or who, own their sexuality, that actually like sex and don't necessarily want a relationship, and that take on what has historically been a very male perspective within the genre. I mean, typically speaking, you have the male who, in the history, you have the male or the hero who maybe slept around a lot back in the day, and now he meets the heroine and suddenly he's kind of wants to be a one-woman man. Again, historically, the heroine is kind of the innocent, and she just the hero opens her eyes to all the lustful flesh delights of sex. And, it progresses from there. Now, that's not always the case, obviously. You get women who actually own their sexuality, who want sex, who don't want, the hero tends to be the pursuer still, and just like in the way that if the heroine has a more diverse past, then people like, the hero could have banged his way through an army of females, and people are like, yeah, boys will be boys. A heroine does even say a quarter of that, and it's like, slut, you're a terrible person. Which is super hypocritical, obviously. I mean, you'd hope that we'd be past that by this point. Obviously not so much. It's baffling to me because, to this day, the hero gets away with things that the heroine could never, ever. People get so much more cranky about the heroine doing things that the hero did. There was a trend back in the day where the freaking hero would rape the heroine and they'd still end up happily ever after together. Not so much accepted now, for obvious reasons. You'd think that with these new progressions in society, that our readership would reflect that as well, which for the most part it does. It totally does. Not so much with the very vocal minority who always have issues with that slut, which is the word that they always throw around. And you'd think that we'd be past that by now, but obviously we're not. And even if they're not cranky in that manner, or writing the author or vocalizing their opinion everywhere, it turns a lot of people off, which is, again, baffling. I don't completely understand why the hero can be forgiven to be like a complete asshole and the heroine has to be perfect and sweet and nice and but not too perfect, because if she's too perfect, she's a Mary Sue, and nobody likes that either because she's too perfect and that's unrealistic and meh. Come on. I don't think that there's realistic expectations held up to heroines overall. I think that people want them to fit a certain mold, and when they don't, people don't like it. They just don't like it. And I would hope that in the future, this will change. That people will become more accepting. I mean, as long as there's writers out there pushing the envelope, which there are, and I commend them 100%. I mean, I'd like to think I do too, but we're not talking about me. So yeah, I'm hoping that society, starts to get the stick out of its ass and appreciate a little more variety. So yeah, that's why I support heroines who like sex, because it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and I like it, and I think a lot of readers do too. Come back next week and we'll talk about something else. Yeah, have a good weekend.